TV.net presents Poker Tonight. Coming up, with the World Series of Poker just weeks away, the World Series of Poker announces that Phil Ivey leads its Tournament of Champions voting. Is he now the most marketable man in poker? The PokerStars.net big game filmed last week in Las Vegas, and we spoke with Jason Mercier for his take on this potentially revolutionary poker show. 2007 Playmate of the Year and Team Victory Poker.net member Sarah Underwood does some Bikram yoga with Joe Sebok and then joins us in studio and goes on the clock. And Dana Workman tells you the best ways to track the World Series of Poker on P2N Online. All coming up on Poker Tonight. Thank you for joining us on Poker Tonight. I'm Scott Huff alongside Joe Sebok. Coming up a bit later on in the show, we've got Playboy Playmate Sarah Jean Underwood in studio. If that's not enough of a reason to stick around, let's go to Dana Workman to find out what's coming up on P2N Online. What's up, Dana?
Always Plan B, Scott. Why do I always got to be Plan B? This week's P2N Online is a special WSOP edition previewing the best ways to follow the world's biggest poker tournament. We cover that, plus get your mailbag questions later in the show. Now, Huff, I understand that you had a very hangover-esque bachelor weekend in Vegas.
Yes, we did. Not that I really wanted you to bring it up, but thank you. We had a private poker tournament at the Aria, so we got a little poker in. I, of course, was busted, I think, third, so that was great.
It was a bit of a rough weekend, as you can tell, but we sang out in style.
You did, absolutely. Thank you for that, and that's enough about the bachelor party. Let's get on with our weekly headlines. The World Series of Poker held their annual media conference call last week. During the call, they announced two new sponsors, popular energy drink Red Bull and two-tone silk shirt manufacturer Nat Nash. Also, Season 2 Poker Tonight guest and Harrah's VP Ty Stewart announced that after 300,000 submissions, Phil Ivey leads the Tournament of Champions fan voting. Now, Sebok, not that it should be a surprise at all, but there are some people out there who would still consider maybe Phil Hellmuth or Daniel Negreanu, considering how media savvy they are, to be the most popular players in the game. So are you surprised that Phil Ivey leads the voting here?
I don't think so, Huff. It's poker, okay? So winning trumps everything. It's great to be media savvy. It's great to connect with the public. But Phil Ivey has really distanced himself with his main event final table this last year. Second place has become distant, and it's nice to, again, make people laugh, and it's nice to joke around, but at the end of the day, wherever the money goes is where the popularity is going to go, and Phil Ivey has that locked up.
So do you think he's actually trumped them at this point in popularity? You think he's more popular than Hellmuth, and he's more popular than Daniel Negreanu as a player, as a personality?
I don't think it's close. I don't think it's close. I mean, granted, we don't have him running around and clowning around and doing all that stuff like those guys, but he wins. He wins and he dominates, and that's the bottom line. People coming up in the game see him and they want to be him. The other guys make you laugh, but you don't want to be those guys.
All right, in other news, the World Series of Poker and World Poker Tour have announced more global circuit events. First, the World Series of Poker announced they will expand their brand by making a two-event stop in Africa. The World Poker Tour has announced a London stop that will take place on August 29th. Now, Siebes, global expansion of poker has been going on for a while now. There are a ton of tours out there. But is there a point maybe where being so aggressively sort of expansionist with poker could be bad for the game?
Well, I'm just waiting for the Iceland Poker Tour to come. You know, I think it's too much. I mean, it's great across the world to grow the game. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. But how many tours do we need? You know, the bottom line is with football or basketball or any of these other sports, there's a league. So you can go, you can see how people are doing, how they rank against each other. But it's getting to the point where there are so many tours that you really just don't pay attention. I think most people at this point sort of focus on the WSOP. That's the one thing that we all know, that's sort of the granddaddy of them all. So for years now, I've been wanting there to be an official poker league so that way we can all follow along and it can be more like a real sport. So hopefully that'll happen. I think it's getting a little bit crazy at the top at this point.
Well, I want to be the world champion of the New Zealand, Auckland Poker Tour, or whatever they have over there at Poker Stars. Moving on, in player sponsorship news, two big announcements this week, as Full Tilt Poker.net announced the signing of Annette Oberstad, and Bodog.net parted ways with David Williams just days after he won the WPT Championship. Annette, of course, won the first World Series of Poker Europe main event and had been affiliated with Betfair before making the switch to Tilt. Williams has been a Team Bodog member since his 2004 World Series of Poker main event run and was really the face of the company. Now, Sebok, what do you make of these two latest sponsorship moves?
Well, first off, bad beat Bodog. Obviously, this was a business decision that was made prior to David Williams taking down the WPT Championship, but it seems like bad business to me. I probably would have gone ahead and had some discussions and changed my mind. There's also been some talk that Bodog is going in a completely different direction, bringing on Amanda Musamichi to join Evelyn Ng and maybe go sort of towards a women's team. So we'll see what happens with that. Now with Annette, this makes perfect sense to me. She wants to run with the big dogs. FullTiltPoker.net is one of those big dogs. No offense to Betfair.net. But FTP, is blowing up. She wants to be involved in that group. So to me, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that she's going to be happy there.
Where do you think David Williams is going to end up now, especially with these new victories under his belt?
Right. It's a great question. I think especially with the last victory, D-Dub is going to be able to write his own ticket. We'll see at the WSOP if he makes a sick run or takes down another bracelet. I mean, really, he's kind of going to have his pick of the litter at that point.
All right, well, finally, let's take a look at the major online winners this week. Uber online pro Sean Deeb pulled a Brett Favre, announcing his retirement late last year, then coming back quickly to scoop a PokerStars scoop event. Deeb claimed the pot limit Omaha 6 max with rebuys, banking over $65,000. Noah exclusive Boken finished third for over $35,000. There was a two-way chop and full tilt $750K guarantee. And continuing on with the Year of the Woman, if you believe that this person is in fact a woman, the event was won by Kate Sexy for $107,500. Great handle here. OJ Limpson finished third for $52,500. Red Pro Amanda Baker finished 11th for $7,200. And the UB 200K guarantee, Sodira 11 bested a field of 867 to take a first place prize of $45,700. When we come back, we break down some numbers. How many people can you expect at the World Series of Poker main event this year as part of our continuing World Series of Poker preview? And Dana Workman tackles how you can best track the World Series of Poker in P2N Online. Stay tuned.